And we're on. And on today's show, I'd like to welcome Don Jackson, all the way from San Antonio in Texas, who's been an ex-Marine, ex-deputy sheriff, until he got caught up with the wrong sort of people who cost him 29 years of his life. It also cost his son 29 years of his life growing up without a dad. He's just recently been released from prison, and he's here today to tell us a story. Don, welcome to Mindwars.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much, Chris. Yes, it's a pleasure to be here. A pleasure to get to know you and get connected and share a message. Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome, Don. So there's a lot to get through in it. But what I'd like to do is if we can just go back to the beginning, go back to the early days. What was the childhood like? What was your upbringing like? Up until where, it started to unfold all wrong for you.
Wow, there's quite a bit to tell there. When I was a child, there was a lot of love in my household as well, but there's a lot of negative energy there. Not only between my mother and father, but between my father and I, but I had that fatherly presence there. There was kind of the how we're taught about the negative and positive, the yin and yang. It kind of goes on within inside of each and every one of us. But my father was a very kind man. He was a great man of great character. But I felt he fell into the ancestral type, where his father beat him, and it kind of passed down to me. And so I was part of that kind of harsh environment, where the anger came into play, and it made me to resent him a little bit. I wasn't able to open up to communicate because the fear factor became be fearful. And I slowly went on a self-destructive mode. At the age of 17, my best friend killed himself right in front of me, shot himself right in front of me. So there was rumors around high school that we were playing Russian roulette, which we weren't, but he wasn't intending to kill himself. He was my best friend, and I attribute his behavior to a movie we watched about 2 weeks prior to that. It was called The Deer Hunter. I'm not sure if you're aware of that movie.
Yeah.
In the 70s, Vietnam War, the Vietnam, men are captive, by the Vietnamese, and they're forced to play Russian roulette. But we just watched that movie, and I noticed where he got that idea from. But he was never intending to kill himself, and I felt guilty at that time because I never stopped him from doing it. But I never, in my mind, imagined the gun would go off. And so, after that happened, I totally quit going to church, and I started criticizing God, cussing God, and blaming God for everything, because I couldn't understand at that time, in my own understanding, I couldn't understand how that could happen to such a kind, loving, human being. He was straight A student. He wanted to go to the University of Texas to become a medical doctor. Loving family, How could this guy's life be snuffed like, but the higher understanding, of where I'm at now, I know that he's not really dead. He's passed on, but I still kind of had that burning within me, why didn't I reach up and knock that gun out, and say, stupid, what are you doing? Stop that. But never would I have thought that gun would go off. But the first time he took all the bullets out, put that one bullet from the single put his head, the gun went off. It's crazy. So I deviated, from the church and everything, and I found another friend who was an alcoholic, and so I became an alcoholic. And started this self-destructive behavior, seeking answers, trying, and not being able to communicate, with my mom or dad, because I didn't want to have, the backlash coming back because, what I thought was going on inside. So I dealt with that, through the alcohol. But it's just a slow spiral downward. But things kind of went up and down. I went to college for a little while. I quit high school after that, my senior year. Got my GED right after that, and then went to college for a little bit, but was still selfish, and egotistical, wanted to party and have a good time and chase the girls. So my intentions were good at first, and then I stopped going to class, and withdrew and started partying and getting around, the whole party scene. Then I went into the Marine Corps, loved the Marine Corps, and I tore my knee up with, after two years, I tore my knee up, had rehab and surgery. So I got out, and went back to school, went back to college with good intentions again, but still stuck in the same stupid mind frame, me.
And do you
So
believe a lot of this was a turning point? Like family life was pretty good, but your friend basically killing himself unintentionally in front of you. Do you believe that just completely altered your mind and send you sort of somewhat on the path of destruction after that?
I believe that it altered my perception of reality, in that sense that I was in at that moment, at that time. And when I say that, I mean, it's like just this bizarre moment in time that happened to me when something precious was gone and not understanding fully, how that could happen. And it would taking my frustration and anger out, on God, which I should have never done. But my understanding then about who and what God is, who and what we are, and who I am now, as as a spiritual being, and if there is life after this. So at that time in my consciousness, I'm not understanding, I reacted outward in that self-destructive mode, trying to seek that, that same kind of harmony, that he and I, but with the alcohol, that was a destructive mechanism. Uh, but yeah, after I went to college, I did look good for a little while, then I stopped, but I went to the police academy there at Solross State University in Alpine, Texas, graduated there and became a deputy sheriff. And I got fired from there after about 3 months because of my drinking. The sheriff had to let me go.
Wow.
So alcohol, yeah. And but my life was just kind of spiraling, downward from there. Um, yeah, it went up a little bit and then back down again. I fell and lost everything. My truck got repoed, lost numerous jobs because of my drinking and because of my irresponsibility. To just be responsible for my actions, and understand that I wasn't just affecting me, I was affecting, others.
Were you also influenced by the time with the type of people you were hanging around with? That sometimes when you end up going on a destructive path, you seem to draw these negative people in with you, or they
Oh,
seem to
sure.
draw you towards them. Did you find that accumulated as well over time?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. I found myself being attracted, to that. But it was just that whole having fun, partying,
The not
feeling
caring.
feeling good, the sex and all that. I wasn't really ever into drugs. I smoked marijuana a few times, but my thing was the alcohol, and the sex, and that was kind of an avenue for me, to release a lot of stuff, but but getting caught up in that and the whole party scene, the dancing, going to the clubs and all that, but the whole issue of responsibility is so important to me now because I've been there, done that, and I understand I'm the cause of everything. I'm all about the laws of cause and effect and karma and all that. So I understand it now more from a spiritual and a more higher understanding of how we all co-create our realities every moment by our thoughts, our words, our actions, deeds, not only for ourselves, but others. So I understand all the pain, hurt, and suffering and death that I've caused, not only in my arena, but the arena that surrounded me that affected a whole wide range of people, not only my family, but the family members, friends, and loved ones of the two young men that were killed in my case. And going into that a little bit, I had a co-defendant who actually shot the two men that were, that were killed, and I was given 52 years. He was given 40. We were given both the same plea agreement. He actually shot them both, but I was there. I could have stopped it, but I didn't.
So it was pre-planned.
Yes. Yes. And so we were both charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. It was dropped to second degree plus 2 counts of armed robbery, but that was dropped. He and I both got the same plea agreement. He pleaded, or he went to sentencing first, but he gave a false statement when he first he turned himself in first. He was thinking I was going to stay on the run, but I didn't. About 2 weeks later, I turned myself in and found out he made a false statement through my lawyer. And I told my lawyer, this is wrong. This is not the way to happen. He shot them both, but he twisted it around, made it seem like I shot one guy and the other guy. And he fought off the gun. And he actually shot the other guy and so forth. But he was trying to get out of a greater sentence. Well, so after I saw this, I told my lawyer, this is not right. Well, after he was sentenced, he went back to the DA and to his lawyer and said, hey, I want to make this right. The first statement I gave was were not correct. So he made a different statement. He recorded a transcript to the DA and his lawyer. And so he told the truth in the second statement. The DA said, no, I'm not accepting this, because all he's doing trying to help his buddy out. He's already been convicted, so he knows we can't touch him.
Too little, too late.
Right, exactly. And so when I got sentenced, he gave me the whole 52 years the judge did.
Wow.
Where he did I think 19 years flat before he got out, and then I did approximately 10 years more. I did 29.
So he actually committed a murder. He pulled the
Yes.
trigger, so to speak.
Yes.
You were there with him, but
yes,
you didn't. You ended up getting longer time.
Right. Yes. And see, I don't want to put any kind of blame, on the system or him or anything. I deserved, I should have been there. I deserve it because I was responsible for the two men. And like I said, I could have stopped it at any time if I wanted to, but I went with that. And so yeah, but I'm really grateful for the lessons I've learned, especially I've learned going through all of that negative and knowing who I was then, because I wasn't spiritual at all. I denounced God. I was an atheist,
Right.
But I know I brought all of that in. I created all that. But just a slow progression, learning cycle, experiences, and growing, things coming to me, me becoming enlightening this little light within my heart a little bit more, and expanding out and attracting that more happiness and joy and goodness and compassion into my life and abundance and so forth, and seeing that and knowing, say, wow, this is beautiful. I love this. So I see the shift, how I changed my consciousness, my perception of what I am.
That's what I was going to actually ask you. People will be listening in and kind of go, a couple of decades ago, what was actually going through your mind at the time before it happened, when it happened, and the afterthoughts. How did that whole process in your mind break down and affect you, and dealing with that, I suppose?
Okay, dealing with what issue again?
When the actual guys got killed in the night, and you were there. You didn't pull the trigger, but going through your thought process at the time, how was your mind, your mental state, capabilities before it actually happened, to lead up to it, and then going through it? How does a person cope with that?
Oh, yeah. See, at that time, Chris, because I didn't love myself, and I didn't, so I wasn't able to love others, right? It was all selfishness, me, being irresponsible in it, this whole destructive mode. So for me at that time, the loss of those two young men, yeah, it was regretful a little bit. I had a little bit of regret, but nothing like I am now. Because like I said, I'm all about the power of love now. But then I wasn't connected with what we call God, divine source, the light, divine being, whatever name we put on that. But now I understand that I'm a part of that. I'm a part of each and every one individual connection with that heart center. I believe the soul is within the heart, and the spark of divinity is within the soul. So connecting with that, but knowing that that's in each individual. But at that time in my life, I was not conscious of that. I was not aware. I was so in tune with my physical body, what I like to call the beast, right?
That destructive path, yeah.
The lower, right, yeah, the lower self as opposed to higher self, And so it was everything on a physical level, and negative emotions, negative feelings, negative thoughts, all that I created. And so, yeah, I just went with the flow at that moment, not really giving a damn, about what happened,
Yeah.
So
consequences didn't matter to you at that stage.
Exactly, right, exactly. Because I had already fallen, and I was in like survival mode, kind of. So, but my God, it's if I could go back in time, yes, I would stop that. I would stop my friend from doing that, or even going there, or even having those thoughts, of even initiating that. Because it's madness. It's just upside down thinking. It's upside, because when you do things like that, you don't know yourself. You don't love yourself. So if you don't love yourself, you don't know yourself. How are you going to know others, and how are you going to love others? Yeah,
exactly. And what was it? Was there any particular reason that, you had it pre-planned? Was there any reason, had these people done something awful or really bad to you that, you were out for revenge, or
Oh, no.
what was the motive, I guess?
Well, the motive was my friend, these two men were killed because they were homosexuals. And my friend apparently had an issue with that. And at that time in the 80s, it was a whole different culture then than it is now.
Yeah, a lot different.
So the slogans, all that, I'm not down. I don't want to say those stupid words, but yeah, it was just a different time there, and but he seemed to have a lot of hatred, for that, to express it out. So it was like, hey, I know this gay bar, let's go over there and do this. Well, I don't want to go too much in that, Chris, because I don't want to, if any family members or friends, see this or hear this, I don't want to bad memories for them. I don't want to
Yeah.
back up. So yeah, they just a bad time. Because like I said, I wish if I could go back and change events, oh my God, I would, in a heartbeat. But yeah, just so. But feeling that at times, the remorse that I have, but knowing that I created that, I was a part of that pain and that suffering, not only for me, my family, but their family, those two young men, their family, their friends and loved ones, and how that reverberated outward, but I hate it. I don't like the person I was then, but I'm done with that person. That Don Jackson, that shadow side of me.
That B
Totally
side.
transformation, man. Yeah. I'm more in tune. I believe we all have a dual nature. We have our light side, our shadow side, and we're more tuned into that shadow side. That kind of lower self they talk about. It's there's more the physical pleasure of the five senses.
Yeah.
You're not tuned to the senses of the spirit, of the soul. And yeah, if you're not tuned to that light, the shadow side, that beast takes over. Leads you direction. Thoughts come in, and
You're in that dark side.
Drugs, yeah, and they play a huge part in it as well. But yeah, I'm totally done with that. Yeah, but the experiences I've been through and the life that's come to me, and me knowing me as a spiritual being now, and not just this physical shell, and knowing my fellow humans, and we're all the same on the inside. But coming out after 29 years and connecting with people on social media like you and I, and yeah, getting
It's a lot different 3 days, 3 decades later, I should say.
Oh my God, yeah, and learning how to use an iPhone or a computer. We didn't have any of that in prison, and what we had computer courses you could take on different prison units that had schools, that actually taught that. But we didn't have the internet. No, that was a no, because you could have no kind of social interaction, with like Facebook or any of that. So yeah, getting connected on Facebook and old friends and stuff, it's amazing, man. But just having choices, getting out and having choices to eat, and shop and buy things and meet people, and be around children again and animals, it's just lovely, man. Yeah, family, I love it, just loving life, being grateful.
How does the Don Jackson of today, how does he deal with, the haunting of what happened? I mean, 3 decades on, does it still play in your mind? You're obviously a much, much better person, much more in tune with yourself.
Oh yeah. I don't, if it comes up, because I've already dealt with it. And
that's what I was going to say to you. Do you find this hard talking about this now, or?
Yeah, because see, this is
reliving some of the past.
Yeah. Certain aspects of it, difficult. Like I said, I don't. Like I said, I don't want to talk about. I don't want. I want to respect the family members, and loved ones. I don't get too deep into it. Well, I mean, I think I already did. But yeah. But yeah, that whole situation there, when it hardly ever comes up in my mind, because I've released that. I've let it go because I understand, what transpired then, how I was an influence in it, as well. How I played that role at that time. But no, if I ever think about it, if it comes up, and it's kind of fleeting, just kind of comes and goes. I don't dwell on it, right? I just understand where I was then, and so I know where I'm at now. And I'm not about dwelling on the past. I'm about the future, building and creating
You're looking forward. Yeah.
right, and helping others. I'm all about others now, because before it was all about me, me, me. Even family was secondary, which is so asinine, uh, but now coming out into the world, being who I am now, and being so grateful, and connecting with that inner spirit and that joy and love for myself, knowing myself more than just this physical body and my fellow man and woman, and experiences I've been through that have that have shown me that love, that compassion, that kindness, that joy, that childness that's inside of us can be expressed when you connect with it. And when you feel that and you experience that and you let it out, so the law of attraction, all of that is real. You let that out, through your thoughts, through your words, through your actions.
Good karma.
Right, exactly. And you actually see the results of your actions, how you affect other people. And I'm all about cause and effect, man. But I try to, on moment-to-moment basis, I try to be consciously aware of my thoughts, what I'm thinking, what I speak, how it's not going to only affect me, but affect people around me. I don't like division. I don't like angry people. I don't like sad people, unhappy people, especially children. That really affects me because I love children and I'm really good with children, man. Yeah, just really good. And so I want to bring connectivity, closeness, happiness, joy, those innate qualities of the spirit. And so for me, it's like getting people to connect with that within, through whatever method, meditation, prayer, yoga, whatever, or just having a quiet time going within, you know, and so that for me, whatever method the person wants to use, I'm not about, trying to force people, trying to say, this is what you got to do. I'm not all about that. I'm just trying to get the message, the experiences I've had that have changed me, transformed me into the person that I know I am, that I've always been. But I was so disconnected. So now I'm more connected, but I'm still learning and growing and connecting. And I love it. All the information out here. It's just beautiful.
It's huge. And that's what I was going to say when you explain about experience and stuff like that. I mean, almost 3 decades inside that, not many people can actually imagine that. I mean, I personally have never spoke to anyone that has done 29 years inside. Give us a small bit of an insight as to, when you actually went in and what actually really goes on in these prison systems. How do you deal with things inside? What are staff like? I mean, how did you find it? How did you like your mental state? What was the coping mechanisms that, Don had to pull out of the bag to kind of get through this, like going from ex-Marine, ex-deputy sheriff to all of a sudden you're on the opposite side of the law and behind bars. How does that do a 360? How do you kind of cope and deal with that?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was, my mindset at that time, I was 27 years old when this happened. And so I was 28 when I went to prison, but it took me a year to get convicted. So I was actually 28 when I hit the prison system.
Right.
And, you hear the rumors, you hear the stories, and so you're kind of in that fear mode, but you're in that survival mode. So you get in there and you see the division and the hatred, the anger, due to the racial lines, the gangs, the families and so forth, different groups competing, with each other, over territory or black market, kind of situation, the drugs or whatever. And so, but you witness the hatred, going on and the not trusting, because you can't trust anybody in there. I mean, they're individuals, that can connect, from a more higher moral character standpoint, spiritual or religious standpoint, those that are connected, with this and this a little bit more, who do go to church, kind of doing away with all the negative stuff. But that came from me later on. But when I first got there, I kind of fell in with it. Well, I did fall in, with it.
Did you feel you had to kind of pick a side when you went in? Normally you see in TV, you have to pick gangs and stuff approach you and, test you out and see what you're like and mentally and physically. How did that kind of barrier, like, you knew nobody inside, the opposite side of the law now. What was the kind of process in that?
you're kind of alone. You go, but everybody, they sit back and observe. But yeah, in prison, you have to fight. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are, black, white, brown. You know, when you get there, but especially whites. And so when I got there, with anybody, they kind of watch you, observe you, and you kind of just sit, by yourself. And some prisons have, sitting accommodation, for certain groups and so forth. And so they'll watch you, watch your actions, who you interact with, bodily man,
Constantly monitored, yeah.
Sure, yeah. And then certain ones will approach, check you out, talk to you, or just might right off the bat say, hey, catch the square. That's the term in prison. Come back here in the back and see what you got, right? So boxing match happens,
He was looking for a bare knuckle.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so either win or lose, you're not going to be the only one. I mean, they're not going to be the only one. Somebody else is going to approach you, but it's trying to break that person down, that psyche down, but it's all about control. But they want to see how far you can go, test your will. But if they see that you stand up, and you're not going to be a snitch, that you're going to mind your business, respect everybody else, and respect is huge in prison. And so then they'll pretty much, leave you alone. And some of the gangs maybe come to you, and talk to you, and say, hey, man, I'd like to come over here, and, we want to talk to you. And so, but that's the way the system, kind of works. But yeah, I fell kind of into that because all the anger and hatred that was being thrown at me, I threw it back. And so, but
it's just what you knew best at the time going in.
Yeah. So I just threw that back. So now I know that, that was all energy vibration taking place. And so I was letting it affect me. And so I was pushing it back and it was affecting them. It was a whole, resonance thing going on, back and forth. And that whole bubble of just negative.
All of negative energy just floating around inside. Yeah.
Yeah. All that. Yeah. Fear and hatred, negative, anger, a lot of anger and rage, Oh yeah. But see, there's certain sectors in prison, for those who disobey, who assault the officer or inmates, you get knocked down in your classification status. And so if you're down there, then it's full of mostly younger inmates, who have a lot of, energy and vigor, and all they want to do is box all day, right? And so they call it kind of gladiator forums, those. And so
right.
So if you're in that bad environment, yeah, but they have other classifications, for those who kind of go through that and want to get away from that, who obey the rules, and want to get a job, and and work and better themselves, and you go on, you move up. So that's where I was last, probably 18, 19 years, I guess, 20. Yeah, I was in a really good situation. Last 12 years, I was working in the maintenance department as a plumber. And I worked in the maintenance department is full of a bunch of great guys, mostly older guys. And I was living in what they call a dormitory area. It's kind of like a barn structure, but we have cubicles at like 9 by 5, it's all metal and concrete, but a whole lot better than living in a cell, with a cell partner that, that you can't pick, that they just put in there. And if you two don't get along, it can be a real problem, all kinds of issues bring up. But if you got your own space, even though you have a neighbor here and here and here, because the barriers come up to about, this high. And so there's really no privacy, which I didn't really mind. And it's open, open. The showers are open. You see everybody shower, and everybody on the toilet or the urinal, but yeah, it's crazy. But a whole lot better for me, living in the cell, with more freedom of movement, going to the rec yard, and working out, or playing a little bit of tag football or volleyball, which is, get out in the sun. Yeah, it was great, but I was progressing, learning and studying and researching, getting into all my spiritual studies, philosophy and psychology and astrology and all of that, but everything came on. And
that's what I was going to say. What was the average day for you inside? But I'm sure, like you're saying, for the first couple of years, it was, pretty negative and doom and gloom, and you're still in that very destructive path, and their
Mhm.
destructiveness was bouncing off you and the energy back and forth. And but as time went on, you know, got on the right path, for want of a better word. And how did things start to smooth out then? I mean, you know, you're starting to study a bit more, you're getting work as a plumber, you kind of got your own little small bit of space as well going on. What was the sort of turning point, or that kind of moment, that kind of switch from one to the other that you kind of gradually
Mm.
drifted over into? Was it just a gradual process over time, or you kind of that penny just dropped one day and said, you know what the hell have I been doing for the last couple of years? I need to go
Mm.
on this path. How did that kind of materialize?
Yeah, it was a gradual process, Chris. I was an atheist big time. Then I slowly became an agnostic because I started seeing things or, reading. And I never knew I was such a voracious reader until I got into prison. I started reading, novels, like Tom Clancy novels or whatever. So I started reading. I'm like, wow, I love reading. I never took the time, except in school, a lot of that is like, you know. So, and so I just loved reading. But I got connected with a cousin of mine, this woman, and she came to see me one time, and she spoke to me about her near-death experience that she had had when she was 19 years old, how she came back, how she saw Jesus and the angels, but how she was told it was not her time to go. And I'm across from her, and she's telling me this, but she's so sincere and so focused. I'm thinking in my mind, oh, okay, right? But I knew she wasn't lying to me, but I, I've always been fascinated, with the supernatural, with the paranormal, what you want to call it. And so,
Right.
know these things. When she relayed that story to me, I was like, wow, that's fascinating. But I've come to, believe now that, that was part of, her coming there and sharing that story with me was like an initiating spark that made me to question and open up to other possibilities. And I was like, wow, whoa, really? This is cool. Wow. So I started researching, got into numerology, the science of numbers, that opened up a whole avenue, getting into numbers and doing my own numbers, with other people in my family, and going, whoa, this makes so much sense. This is relating so much. Then it just progressed. I started getting other books on spirituality, philosophy, you know, Pythagoras, Socrates, so forth. I'm just trying to expand my mind and understand, what's the true nature of reality. What the hell is this all about? Why are we here? Why do we got to suffer so much and then supposedly die and then go to hell if we're not good? Suffer forever. It didn't make any sense. We're supposed that God's supposed to be loving us, And then going back to my childhood, when my friend, shot himself and all that, my whole rejection of God did. But I'm coming back now and I'm really opening up and questioning things. So, but that led to this, and then I started opening my mind, my conscience, my heart back up, and enjoying this and reading this and going, wow, it just resonated, connected with my soul. It's like, whoa, lovely, great, yeah. This explains why that is like that or that is like that. Or why, ancient history was, what has progressed now. It kind of explains, why we're at the state we're at today. The whole global consciousness, why we're in such a fear mode, the divisive mode. It's a controlling mechanism, through religions, through the priestly class. So it's just nonsense. It's so upside down, topsy-turvy, right? The way it's supposed to be. There's no real love. Yeah, people say, oh, I love you. I love that. I love that tree over there. Well, sure you do. But do you truly love your neighbor? Do you truly love yourself? Do you know that love that is really God? That's the divine. That connectivity that creates harmony and beauty and bliss and happiness and compassion and joy in your life? Or are you more in tune with that fear that everybody's in now? That opposite of love. That's the opposite of love is fear. You know, that divisiveness. That's not love is connecting. No, love is unity. It's a unifying binding force of the universe. It's what unifies, it binds, it creates, it harmonizes, and it spreads. That is God. What we call God. I don't want to put any titles on it, but that's for me has what's come awaken within inside of me, and I've experienced it. And so, but yeah, in that negative environment in prison, I slowly progressed to that, And through my dreams, through things that happened to me, and, and with what I call my guardian angels, I've had that, it's awesome, beautiful, powerful experience. It's what I call my own guardian angels. And I don't want to really, I don't want to make this too lengthy, but the angels are real, brother. That I know for myself. There's just certain things that I've experienced come not just to believe, but to know that I'm more than just this physical vehicle, as I know each and every human being on the planet is. And I know that love, and I want to express that love. I want to connect people with that love and know that within themselves, man, and be like that old child that Christ told us about. Be like the children. Be that innocent, pure, loving, joy, creative, spontaneous, unifying force that we all are, instead of this divisive, ugly, hateful, angry. And I hate it, I hate getting out into the world and being how I am and seeing all of this. I'm sorry if I get too emotional.
You're okay.
But it just doesn't resonate with my spirit and what I want to give to people, the message I want to give to people. Quit being controlled by fear. Quit letting the damn networks, these social media sites, people who are engaged in that fear, don't let them control you. Don't let them control your emotions, your actions, because that's what fear does. And the people who are in control know that. That's how they keep us divided. That's how they conquer us, because they don't want us unifying, knowing who we are. And that, because when everybody comes together in loving, truly nurturing embrace and consciousness and knowing that we can create much more than what we've done now. And that takes the power away from those that are truly in power, that want us separated.
Exactly. That 1% at the top.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what's going on at the minute with the whole COVID-19, pandemic situation. Is it's through fear, and that's the media being like their little Rottweilers for the government, and the government then being controlled by the 1% from the top down. And it's as I say, looking at billions of people up worldwide over these past couple of months, and people lost jobs and depression, suicide, all sorts of stuff has went on, all down through control through fear, through the masses, and that's what they've actually done, and they've done it quite well, unfortunately.
Oh yes, yeah. They know exactly what they're doing. They've been practicing this for thousands of years. From my studies, it goes back to ancient Sumer, and into Babylon and so forth. They those that are behind the scenes that we never hear about or see. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're playing this whole system. We're all pawns in the game, man. Until we wake up.
Exactly, I couldn't agree more. Yeah. For sure. And is what I wanted to ask you about is inside the actual prison system itself, how do you find the police, the staff I should say, and stuff inside? How do you find them? Are they okay in general? Are they as corrupt as you see in the TVs? I mean, how do they play out inside? Do they take a one-sided gang compared to another, or if you get friendly with them, are they all right, or can they be really trusted inside?
Yeah, it's kind of a mix and match between the officers, the correction officers. Some are good, just like in society. Some are good, some are bad. Some take advantage of the system. A lot of drugs and stuff come in through that avenue. They can be bought. Just like anybody. And so, but yeah, and then you have and you have a lot of the haters. I like to call them haters. The officers that just hate because I'm wearing white, but I'm an inmate. So they feel like they need to
Constantly put you in line. Yeah.
They need to induce their type of justice because of us being there. We're outcasts. So we need to learn a lesson. So whether to write a bogus, disciplinary report or to plant a shank or a knife, in your locker or something, when you're out to wreck, just because they don't like you, or they want to make sergeant or lieutenant, that's a nice report,
Yeah.
So you have that aspect, but you do have good officers as well, who are good, just good people, we're not supposed to get, too interactive with them, not get on the personal level and talk. And everything's supposed to be focused, just on the institutional questions, how can they help us, or whatever. But yeah, some of them are really good people who are there to do their job and to help us and and do the security and then, you know, go home and then all that. But yeah, there's the two sides. Yeah, there's that double side of human nature, you know, just
Double-sided coin as always, yeah.
yeah, sure, yeah.
I wanted to actually ask you, how did your sentence actually get reduced?
Oh, mine, yeah, I got 3 years. See, I was sentenced 52 years, and like I said, my co-defendant, he was sentenced to 40, and he got out after 19. So
Yeah,
my sentence was 52, which was the maximum that the judge could give me. My lawyer filed for an appeal on a firearms charge, and it only knocked until I went back on appeal and got 3 years knocked off of it. And so I was actually doing 49 years. And so
wow.
and I did 29 of that 49. So that was the only reduction in my sentence. I actually made parole. Actually, I'm on 2 years parole right now. I've got till December of next year. I'm actually off parole.
Good stuff, good stuff. And what would you say is, 29 years inside, what would you say? I'm sure you came across an awful lot of cruel stuff and things that went on inside. What would you say was one of the worst days or one of the worst weeks inside in prison that you've come across or you've
Oh,
witnessed inside, should I say?
mainly when there was a lot of racial tension in the air, um, because there was there were some issues going on back in the late 90s here in Texas, and some things are going on, you know, out in the world. I don't know if you remember, it was in, I'm trying to remember what town it was. It was here in Texas where an older black man was dragged behind a pickup by by two white guys, but they were Aryan Brotherhood and they had been in prison. But they caught him on the street one night and they beat him and they drug him behind the truck for miles. And but anyway, horrible. Well, that stirred up in the prison all the racial thing. And so, but there were situations like that, where you're so tense because you can just feel it in the air. Something's fixing to happen.
You
So
can feel a
those,
negative vibe going through the air, yeah.
right, yeah, yeah, and also, when things like that do go down, yeah, you're scrambling, and if the officers, see it, and tear gas is flying, and yeah, you're trying to get away, from where the main action is, somebody getting stabbed, you just, yeah, just all survival mode. Yeah, and that whole adrenaline thing going, and yeah, craziness. But,
Every man
yeah,
for himself, literally, yeah.
basically, yeah. Well,
Wow.
yeah, it's yeah, in those certain times, right? Yes, yeah.
Wow. So you got out after 29 years. What was that feeling like leading up to knowing, how long did you know in advance that you were actually going to be released?
I found out 3 years in advance from a lawyer. My father hired a lawyer to get information because I couldn't get any information because I was here in Texas. Crime happened in Albuquerque, but I got transferred over here because my father got me over here. We did what he called an interstate compact agreement between New Mexico and Texas. So I did all my time here in Texas. But leading up to that, so I'm trying to remember exactly. Okay, now you want to know. I kind of lost my train of thought there for a minute.
Yeah, you're all right. No, what I was saying basically was, so you give 29 years in prison, but what was how much in advance of that 29 years did you actually, know that you were going to be released, and how did that all settle, or how did it all unfold in your mind, and the feeling that was going through your body when you
Oh,
actually knew this?
oh my God, just joy, gratitude, gratefulness. Yeah, it was 3 years prior. Like I said, my father found out through a lawyer, and I got the exact date that I would walk out. And it was supposed to be and you can check this out, Chris. The date they gave me was on my birthday,
Wow.
November 10th, 2019. The date they gave me. So I went back to New Mexico and I went through a program. It's a special prison they have for people, people who are fixing to get out of prison. They take you through different programs, to help you. And so, but because of paperwork problems and delinquency in the system, I didn't get out until December the 9th, but I would have been released on my birthday because that's what the paperwork said.
All
And I'm
right.
like, my birthday, this is crazy. But I spent almost a whole month later, because I walked out December 9th of last year. But yeah, but my father knew, my mother had already passed away. But my father knew that I was getting out, and then he passed away. See, I found out about 3 months before he passed away. So he knew that I was already getting out, which I'm glad that he knew that. And so I was looking forward to that. But then he contracted cancer. You know, he was a heavy smoker. But after my mother passed away, he smoked even more and drank even more, and so he got cancer, and it just metastasized, and it went all the way through his body and took him out pretty quick. So that was devastating. So, but I had my brother, my wonderful brother, and my sister-in-law, who I'd never met. Met her on the bus coming in, driving in from Mexico here to San Antonio,
Yeah.
and I talked to her a couple of times on the phone. So meeting her, she was actually the first one I saw and got to hug, off the bus. And she's just a wonderful person. Just love her to death. But my brother and her brought me in to their household, supported me for 3 months, till I get, a driver's license, so I could get an apartment and, get a new truck and job and so forth. But just having that love and support there, not in family, and just being grateful for that, man. And, my God, just experiencing everything. 29 years of my life, yeah, it was there. But hey, I learned so many valuable lessons there, and I'm grateful for some of those experiences. But I'm not great. It's so, it's like if those two men, if I could have stopped that, but it's crazy to even think about some of these things. But yeah, yeah, Chris, I'm just so grateful. The experiences I've learned, lessons I've learned, how I've grown, and who I am now, and what I want to do with this podcast and connecting with people, Facebook, putting videos out on Facebook, and just expressing that out and connecting with that inner kindness and that compassion that I know is within each and every one. We're all capable of that, but it's disconnecting with that shadow side or the influences from the outer. And for me, dealing with my emotions now and with my feelings and my thoughts, I don't let the outer influence the inner, because a lot of people have a problem with that. Some people are more sensitive, more emotional, to the outer, and so the anger comes on, the hatred, the fear, whatever. But it's being in that moment, taking that moment and not letting that energy influence you, because that's exactly what that's designed to do. Not letting that anger, hate, fear, just taking that moment, taking a deep breath, understanding it for what it is, understanding, where that consciousness, whether it's an individual, organization, whatever, understanding where they're at in their development on their journey in life. Because you may have been there once, and this is what I like to do, Chris. I like to understand people a whole lot better. I like to put myself in their shoes. What would I do if I was there? Because I've been there. I've been to the bottom. I've hit it, man. And so I understand a lot about human nature, the human psyche, man, and human behavior. And so, but I'm not about that negative, man. I'm all about the positive, connecting with that higher within humanity and bringing us together, man. And but that's what it's all about. It's about the message, not about me, man. It's because I'm going to go on. This is a step in my path. Meeting people like you and like Keelan and others on social media. I've got so many friend requests now. It's crazy. I've got all these different people, friend requests, and I'm like, whoa, okay, check them out. Oh, okay, cool. Hey, let's be friends.
How are you coping with all that? Because
Oh,
compared to when you went in 3 decades ago, compared to now, coming out the first couple of days, being outside and actually seeing the world, like, the lights, the streets, the shops, everything had the vision you had in your head going in to what
yeah.
you came out with 3 decades later. How was that feeling? How did you even cope with that? Like, to understand what was actually, this is now today's day, and it's just, wow. Did you actually expect it, or what was that emotional roller coaster ride coming out? And even still to this day, how are you adapting to all that?
It's still ongoing. It's still ongoing. Just amazement, wonderment, at life in general. But yeah, I tell you, when I was in prison for the last 10, 12 years, I was really keeping focus on the outer world instead of in the inner. See, a lot of guys are in prison, their minds are so focused on the drama in the prison and they don't really watch the news or read the paper. They don't keep up, with world events. And so a lot of people come back in again and again. It's the recidivism rate. And so they're trying to think of the term they use when your mind is focused on that environment. There's a term they use in prison. Oh, I'm trying to think of it now. But I didn't want myself to be like that, because I'd seen so many get out and come back and say, oh, yeah, I'll never be back. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And 3 or 4 or 5 months later, here they come back in the revolving door, right? What the hell happened to you?
Do you feel they had good intentions, or you just knew by them? Do you feel they had good intentions, or you just knew by them anyway? It was just words and they weren't going to change their ways?
I believe some of them had the intention at the moment. Some of them didn't. They were saying it because it made the other person they never talked to feel good, so it made them feel good. It was kind of an ego thing. Now, the male ego is a whole other subject. Oh, my God. Yeah, crazy. But yeah, witnessing that, and I'm like, man. But it's just my nature, to research, to question, to investigate, to get answers. But I was always, getting information, listening to radio stations, and reading papers. I started reading the Wall Street Journal because I wanted to, see the money to finance, stuff, because I was thinking about, investing. And so, but they had really good world stories because they covered the world, and I'm like, I want to keep up, different cultures, what's going on over here, and Azerbaijan or, Afghanistan, wherever, just focus my mind on, out instead of from me here, just me, see what, because we're all in this together, man, So I kept my mind focused out there, but find balance, because I'm all about balance, Chris. We all have to have balance within ourselves, within our world. If we don't, we're going to be off kilter.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah, right. And so we're going to levitate either one way or the other, and we're going to go one extreme or the other, and it's just craziness, man. It's upside down. So I focused on that, and plus my spiritual studies, and transforming myself, and then going and then having ideas come to me what I want to do out in the world. So I was doing that and having conversations, with my dad, my mom, and my brother about my ideas and so forth, but keeping that connection there, speaking on that positive level, and then connecting with others of like mind, or good character people who I just presume to be good character people in prison, and connecting with those like minds, and then advancing myself up and maybe helping them as well. But yeah, getting myself prepared. So when I did get out, yeah, it was overwhelming. But I even asked my family members, after a couple of months, how do you think? Because I wanted to see how others, saw me, my development, my reaction to the environment. Because my sister-in-law, she went and bought a book, in a bookstore, I guess, about prisoners who've been locked up a long. I can't remember the title. Been locked up a long time. Family members. What to do, what not to do. Don't hold out. Don't come up behind them, and and all this and this. And so I asked her one day. I said, "How do you think, because she was trying to prepare for me, because she never met me. We just talked on the phone. So I said, how do you feel I've coped, being out in the world, for this amount of time?" And she said, "My God, you're excellent." It's like, yeah, awesome. Yeah. You're not having any flashbacks or anything, fear, paranoia or whatever, schizophrenia or something, going on. But I was just taking it in, man, and just going with the flow, moment to moment, going, whoa, hey, this is cool, man. And shopping for the first time with my brother, going to Costco. Not sure if you know what Costco is, but yeah, here in the States.
I do, yes, yeah.
Yeah, and so my God, and my brother, he's walking in front of me. I'm going, hey, dude, slow down, man. I'm trying to take this in. But
something he takes for granted, obviously, every day.
Yeah, and the electronics section, the TVs and the computers and stuff, and the screens blurring the music, and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. The big flat screen TVs, 55, 75-inch screens, and the quality of the picture and the sound and all that. And I'm like, oh my God. But people, being around people, and especially children, seeing children walking around, hopping around and smiles on their faces and feeling that, going, oh, wow, cool. Hey, what's up, dude?
It brings a joy and a smile to your own face, yeah.
But just people, their everyday lives, families together, like going out in restaurants, eating, and seeing people, and that whole family unit, and friends connecting, and yeah, just lovely, dude. And driving and seeing buildings, architecture, and shopping and having choices again. So many choices of what I can eat. I can eat a great salad, you know.
How do you
I
how do you feel? Would you swap going back 30 years ago, not to the prison side of things, but actually the way society and the way living was back then compared to now? Do you think we're just because it's for and against it? Do you think it was a lot more softer, peaceful times back then compared to today's society, and it's all hustle and bustle and
yeah,
tech everywhere?
yeah,
How do you find that kind of
yeah,
comparison?
yeah. To me, the '80s were my time. It's when I was in the Marine Corps, and it was also peacetime, but we had Ronald Reagan as president, and so we weren't at war. So and so, yeah, it was in the whole '80s thing, the hair, the clothes, the music. To me, that was such a different. But it seemed like people were it was more harmony. I think between people, between the races, and the politics wasn't so divided.
Mm.
And,
You're more
so much,
connected, I feel, back then compared to now. It's definitely more divisive all the time.
right, yeah, and then now, I've seen it now, but I try to have a higher understanding of this because in my astrological studies, I see we're slowly. You probably heard this. We're slowly entering the age of Aquarius, leaving Pisces. Aquarius is an air sign, and so the air is vibrations, frequency. We're becoming connected, but it's the intentions of the individual. I've come to learn how we use this information, this technology. And so if people are connected with their lower self, with that, what I call, that, the physical self, if not connected, with that higher self, wanting to send love and unity and harmony, if they want to disseminate, anger and hate and fear and jealousy, whatever, they'll use that platform. It's all the intentions within the individual. It doesn't matter what tool you use. You can either help or hurt your fellow man by your intentions, because it goes out and it comes back. So it's all the individual's intentions. That's what so the technology is good, right? Go on a certain level, yeah, but it's of each individual.
Has its bad sides as well.
Exactly right. Yeah. It's just like it's just the world we live in. That world of duality. It's the third dimensional plane. So and that duality lies within us. If we don't have balance, then it's we're going to be helter skelter. Here and there. In our thoughts and our actions, our feelings. Trying to find that balance, that harmony. That's why the world's so damn out of balance right now. Because we're
Exactly. The world is a crazy place at the minute.
oh my God, yeah. It's
Whereas people would say it's not the world that's crazy, it's the people that's in it.
right. Yeah, but see, and it's all how we express outwards, because I believe in the whole consciousness thing, and what we put out is exactly what we get back. But when you have billions of people on a planet expressing this same lower vibrational frequency from their minds, from their heart, from their feelings, emotions, all of this plays a part. It spreads, and it feeds off of people. Feed off of it, but it's that lower vibration. But there's a slow movement going on. More of us get connected. People of a higher thought mind, of a higher heart mind, because I believe the heart has a mind as well. I call it the heart wisdom. But people are more and more getting connected in that. In so the higher vibrations always take over lower. Like to say, the light puts out the darkness, always. But we have to have that fine balance within ourselves. And this goes back into symbolism. Those two poles of spirit. Kind of like the yin and yang. Yeah. The black and white. The up and down, left and right, hot and cold. Whatever. That's the world duality that we live in. Well, that's within us as well. So, but yeah, I find that beautiful balance, man. But we have to have balance in the world. That's why everything's so crazy right now. So everything's so off kilter, out of balance.
Exactly. How do you see things going?
I see. Wow, good question. I see good and also see bad, and also see. I feel like some of the old institutions need to be torn down and rebuilt. Uh, when I say institutions, I'm talking about religious, political, social, uh, educational, because from what I've learned, from what I've studied, these institutions that have been controlled by man or the masculine energy for thousands and thousands of years, they've suppressed the feminine. And so that's out of balance. And so we get into the energy, the masculine and feminine. The feminine is the creative process. The masculine is the warlike. It's in astrology, that's Mars, and Venus is the balancing, opposing force. But that's the world we live in. We have that masculine and that feminine poles of polarity. And so when one rules over the other gets suppressed, like the feminine has been suppressed. So the men, that male masculinity force has been governing for thousands and thousands of years and created wars after war after war to profit. And they built up their little empires here and there and there. They're corporations and also religious institutions run by men who have suppressed the feminine, told the women, you can't you can't do this, you can't do that, while they're taking all the power and the money and the glory. But it's that male ego chauvinist, it's that masculine energy being out of balance. We have to have that balance within. So you're seeing more women coming into play in power and politics, religious matters, but it's that slowly moving in, that feminine coming back into play. That's what I feel is just taking place. In order for that to happen, the old male-dominated institutions need to be kind of done away with, but where we have more of that balance, of that harmonizing, creative, loving, nurturing energy that we need, man. Because there's too much of that rage, of that masculine energy prevalent, too much prevalent in our military-industrial complex, especially in the United States, but it's all over the globe. But yeah, but the constant war, fighting, that's that damn male, aggressive, wanting to rule and power, control. It's all about the profit, the power, the money, the control. It's what it's all about.
It's been there for centuries, yeah. Like the New
Oh
World
my
Order.
God. Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, but yeah, but anyway, that's how I feel on that. But it's all about balance, brother. It's just all about balance. And we have to have that. So the earth is like it is, the way it is, because it's been off balance. But it starts with us as a collective. We've been off balance. And so it's resulted in all of this. And we have to be responsible, for how we not only treat ourselves, but our fellow man and this whole beautiful planet, Send out beautiful thoughts, loving, healing thoughts, man, and emotions and words. And you'll be amazed, man. But the intention has to be real. The feeling and emotions have to be real. Man. You got to connect with that inner divinity within. It's like Jesus said, knock and the door shall be open. Well, that door is right here, man. It's they make it sound so hard in religion, but it's the door. They try to, that door, that closet that Jesus talks about going into, it's not a literal closet. This closet is inside your heart, the soul, the spark of divinity within heart. That's why he talks so much about love in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. It's all about love. Well, that's what Jesus preached. Just love, man. If people just love, my God, it's the highest, most powerful force in the universe. It's the highest vibration, man. That's what it's all about. Everything revolves around the love. That's who and what we are.
So if you had a message to give to anybody, what would you give them?
Oh my God. Be kind. Be kind to one another. Be kind to others, because when you're kind to others, they respond in kind. And it's an energy exchange. When you understand that you yourself are more than this physical body, you are energetic being. Everything vibrates to a certain frequency. Our souls, our energy bodies are exactly that. You go to a molecular level and ionic level within the cells, they are vibrating. They've got frequency to them, and they radiate out. So, but it goes much, much deeper than that. But have an experiment, try it, be kind, but do it with good, beautiful intentions, not just to say, oh, hey man, how you doing? Because the
no meaning behind it.
Yeah, the tone of voice, the emotion
resonates.
You've got to really, feel for your neighbor, for your fellow man. Hey brother, how's it going today, man? You okay? God bless you, or whatever, whatever phrase you want to use, man. Take care of yourself, See how people respond, man, when you're kind and say, hey, what's going on? You know?
Exactly. Your message send
You
out
know?
good, and you're hoping the good will
Yeah,
boomerang back to you.
yeah, yeah. But it's that whole interaction. Oh, say I'd like to do an experiment with you. All right.
Go for it.
Hey, take your finger, right? Take your finger, point to yourself. Where'd you point to? Right?
Correct.
Your heart is. Why do you think you pointed there?
Tell me.
Huh?
Tell me.
You. That's where the real you is. It's in your heart. That's where your soul is. That's you. It's instinctive. It's intuitional. Yeah. Right there. See
Simple
that?
but effective. I just gravitated to it. Simple as that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of you. And that's that real you, that one, that divine spark is within each and every one of us. Number one. Powerful. Yep. We're
So
all individuated. Yeah, we're all individual sparks of the divine. And if we know and understand that and we release that, become responsible for our actions, and become literal, beautiful co-creators of our reality and create love, truth, beauty, and goodness in this world, my God, the possibilities are endless of what we can do, man, because we cause so much destruction and hate and divisiveness over the years, but it's a progression but those in power, they know what you're doing.
of course they do.
Keep it
The
to keep
agenda is there for a
fighting.
long, long time. Nothing
Yeah,
new. It's not a coincidence.
keep us away from that love, man, because they know how powerful it is. Yeah.
So you're enjoying life. You're enjoying your freedoms. What does
Oh my God.
a road look ahead for Don Jackson? What's the next 12 months?
Oh wow! Next 12 months, and hopefully get this. Well, not hopefully. I'm gonna get this podcast started. I'm kind of running behind on it right now because I'm looking, trying to, still. I just got a job. I'm working a little bit here, but I'm kind of scattered because I try to take in as much information every day as I can. Turning into different sources.
I know the feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and sucking it all in and processing it, and what am I going to write something down and share it with somebody, and getting on a social media, Facebook, and seeing if I got any messages or whatever, or
exactly.
messenger.
You're a
And,
constant information walking sponge every day.
yeah, I feel like I'm in
Yeah,
Star Trek with my phone. You know, it's like you and I having this conversation. It's like, yeah, this is Star Trek, man. Yeah, but yeah, the future gonna be great. Like I said, it's just a process, of me going and meeting and communicating with you, but it's not about me. It's about the message, man, and it just feels lovely. I found my purpose and my passion, man. You know, after all this time, but I had to go through that, and I went through all that, and I understand it. So I've risen, and so now I want to help others rise, man, become better people, man, better human beings, and connect, man, connect. That's what I'm all about, you know. And so, but yeah, I know this journey is fixing to get better, yeah. And I've met a wonderful, friend from my past, haven't seen in probably 35 plus years on Facebook, and
wow,
she's a wonderful, beautiful friend, and maybe a possible relationship going on there, and you don't know, but yeah, we,
great.
yeah,
Happy days ahead.
yeah,
Job,
man.
love life
Thank
in process. It's all coming
Yeah,
together.
yeah. Oh my God, yeah. It's just beautiful, Chris. Everything I prayed for, everything I put out there is just slowly coming about. But I understand it. And so, but
You went through the trenches and the bad times, but now your rewards are gradually at the end of the tunnel and you're reaping them nicely.
oh my God, yeah. I love it. Yeah, I love it. Love life, man. So grateful every day. Grateful, man. Yeah, I love going out and seeing people. But you know what I hate seeing? I hate going to the stores and people are wearing a damn mask, and they don't have to. If they only inform themselves, boost your immune system, and quit being in fear. But not being able to see people smile, you know?
Exactly. It's another
Yeah.
control method again. Totally unnecessary, those masks.
And I see people, and I'll be walking in my shopping cart and see somebody say hi, hey, how you doing? Well, they won't even look at you, veer off. It's crazy, that disconnect, man, because the
Exactly.
damn,
They're stopping that unity again. It's that divide and conquer method that they've
yeah,
put into place again.
Yeah, it's so sad. So sad. Yeah. But it's
Well,
all learning. Huh?
no, you're right.
Yeah. 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 This whole this unifying is just it's madness. I feel like I'm in a twilight zone sometimes. I mean, seriously. You ever watch the Twilight Zone?
I did. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I feel like I'm in sometimes. People walk around like zombies.
exactly.
It's
Dehumanizing society is what it feels
dehumanizing.
like. Yeah, yeah. It's horrible to see that so many people are still in their slumber, and they're just walking around and so uninformed of what's really going on. It's very saddening to see for humanity, but hopefully there are some people waking up, which is a good thing. We just need to wake more of them up so they can
Sure.
make better, more informed, good life decisions for themselves. They know the easy top, they know the information is powerful, and that's why at every cost they can get, they will censor as much as they can. So, like us, the
Yeah.
people on the ground, we're not actually getting this information, because if we get this information, it's more powerful than any weapon. And they know that if the population unites, well, then they're in trouble, because all of a sudden the power that they had, that people
Mhm.
so easily give away to them through the fear, um, we can actually take that back from them. And that's one thing they don't want.
Sure. Oh yeah. Yeah. Very much so. Yeah, that's what I'm all about. Yeah. Yeah. Being aware, being in that higher awareness, man. Yeah. 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 Being aware, being informed, staying in tune. Yeah. Yeah. With truth. Being able, your perception level, being able to discriminate, to discern, what your perception are of right and wrong. But I ask, this is the way I am. I ask people, instead of taking one viewpoint and running with that and going, yeah, yeah, that's right, that's what I believe. Screw you if you don't believe me. Right? That's the whole divide and conquer crap, man.
Yeah,
So, but looking at different viewpoints, this is what I do. I'm an independent observer, so I observe and I research and investigate. So I observe this point of view, this point, or whatever, this information I look at, but I observe from either a practical standpoint, rational standpoint, or from a historical standpoint, what had worked in the past or what worked for me, and go, what works and what doesn't work. That seems to work. Well, I'm going to go over here, right? So that's what I ask people to do. Just be open, have an open mind, think outside of the box. My
yeah,
God,
exactly. I couldn't agree more. Use common
right,
sense, use logic, which is something that's gone by the wayside. Is common
right,
sense.
right.
Stop being controlled by the media and the masses. Just step outside that box, you say, and
Exactly.
have a look around. Do your own research. Do your independent research. Go to the alternative news and media sources, and they'll give you an insight as to what's going on. But the normal MSM, forget about it. And it's
Right.
all coordinated and done on purpose. No
Yeah,
coincidence.
yeah. Question, question, question. That's all. Yeah, I
Exactly.
question.
Curious and question everything that comes your way.
Yeah, very much.
Fantastic. And if you had
Yeah.
one last thing, Don, to give to the listeners, what would you say to them?
You know what? The biggest thing, I think I said this a while ago, just be kind. Be kind to one another. And this is so powerful, Chris. Remember when you were children. Remember that joyfulness, that happiness, that playfulness, that innocent pureness of of love, of not having divisiveness, not caring what your skin color is, not caring what your political aspirations are or your religious aspirations. But children are not like that. They're taught that. And it develops on a subconscious level. Being that pure, open, loving, caring, compassionate person like you were as a child, remember that and connect with that. Connect with that within yourself, you know, and just go within yourself, quiet your mind, quit scatterbrain, and just focus, man. Go within here, connect with your heart, man. But have a balance between here and here, because most people are up here, but they're not here. There has to be balance, 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 balance. But yeah, just be kind to each other, and love, man. Yes, yeah, that's the most powerful message that I've got.
Excellent. Don, I want to
Yeah,
thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been an
thank you.
absolute pleasure. Hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, blessings to you, brother. And yeah, everybody watching, man, thank you. God bless you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
You've been watching Mind Wars.